Today I want to do something that's a little bit different for you. I want to talk to you about long-term trusts, beneficiary-controlled trusts, and dynasty trusts where the client's goal is to preserve or perpetuate or protect wealth for typically more than one generation. But I also want to talk to you about our experience in finding out who does these and why, and how you might be able to use that in your own practices and in your own marketing, because we've been pretty meticulous about studying exactly who does these, why they do it, why they tell us they come in, and what they tell us was useful and good and beneficial to them when they leave. And I have 9,000 clients, so we have a pretty good experience over about 29 years. Somebody was making fun of me because it says in the bio, I guess, more than 29 years. I'd like to keep a little mystery. And so we have a lot of data over a large number of people. And I'm fortunate to live in an area like you do where there's a fairly significant amount of concentrated wealth. But it's a very diverse area, so I could talk to you a little bit about who's making these decisions for a lot of different reasons. I want to give you the information that you need to know to be able to assist your clients no matter what area you're working in. And I will tell you this, if you're not the lawyer and you're giving them some of the information that I'm going to give you today and some of the ways of thinking about these things, you're going to get more credit than the lawyers do anyway. So we get into a question of what do you do there? And my preference, like yours I think in Nevada, is to not give the power to the trustee to be able to, or to the family trustee to be able to fire. I like to strengthen the creditor protection. I think it is strengthened by having a truly independent trust protector who is, again, not a related or subordinate party, whose job is at least the ability to fire and hire other trustees. So you got to have an independent trustee, and clients are very afraid of that. Spouses always ask, why do I want this money to be in trust for me? And kids always say at the family meeting, why do I need a trust? I'm a doc. I've been managing my own money. I'm worth millions of dollars. That's actually why you need this kind of trust, doc, because if your parents leave you the money outright, you could have it taken away for professional liability. Just because we have these trusts doesn't mean that we shouldn't be advising each generation to take care of business. Asset and creditor protection, which for most people is the real, at least in my practice, is the real driver for setting these up, is creating a big wide moat that you could light on fire and having a big high wall and having glass on top of it. It's multiple levels. So typically when I do this, and this is another great marketing technique for you guys, typically when I do this, I also have a family meeting, because we don't want the existence of these trusts to come as a shocking or horrifying surprise. We want people to understand that their parents are not setting these trusts up because they don't trust them or because we think they're bad at this. We're setting them up to protect them. And sometimes, by the way, you may think, oh, you don't want the in-laws there. Sometimes it's actually pretty good to have the spouses there too, so that they could see that the lawyers are explaining that one of the side advantages of this for a family is that they're protected from remarriage and divorce. You know, like, and I sort of make this palatable by them by saying, if you were to receive this money outright rather than in trust, meaning the spouse, because a lot of times if one of the kids die, we say that if they're married at the time, the spouse could continue to get income and it goes to the kids only on his or her death. So I say, if this money went to you directly and you had a car accident, you could get sued. If you lost cognitive ability, you could have this money taken away from you. If you remarry and get divorced, you could lose it. And if you remarry and die before a new spouse, you know, most states have some kind of an elective share that's going to that spouse. And when they hear that, it makes it all very palatable. Another reason, by the way, that clients will do these is that they realize, or they try to get their kids to do a prenuptial agreement. Anybody here ever suggested prenup to client for their kids and then they don't get the prenup? I mean, most first marriages, no matter how much wealth, most first marriages do not have it. It's just too hard to deal with. And so by creating a beneficiary-controlled trust or a longer-term dynasty trust, you're really imposing a type of prenuptial agreement on those next generations. Now, of course, just like I say, if you're a trust beneficiary, if you're the beneficiary of one of these, you should still have your liability, personal lines liability umbrella. That should be the first line of defense. I still tell clients' kids, you should still have the prenuptial agreement. But they weren't going to get it anyway in a lot of cases. It's only after that first marriage is dissolved that people see the wisdom of the prenuptial agreement.